The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
There was a particular mishpacha in Klal Yisrael which shall remain unnamed for anonymity purposes. This family had a wonderful mishpacha. Their oldest was a daughter. The daughter had been in Shidduchim for a while, and she just hadn't found the right guy. The parents were starting to get concerned. She was getting a little concerned, but Hashem has a plan. Hashem has a plan. It wasn't so easy. One week, in the beginning of the week, her father is walking somewhere and he meets a friend of his. Shalom Aleichem, let's go. And the friend says to him, by the way, we just had a baby girl yesterday. And actually, Mr. Shem was making Kiddush this Shabbos, and he names a particular shul. He goes, it would be so nice if you're in the area, if you could stop by. He says, really? Of course, that's so nice. What time is Shachris? Fine. Shabbos comes, the family goes to daven where they normally daven, and he says to his kids, you know what? I have a Kiddush about 15 minutes away from here. My friend's making Kiddush. She had a baby girl. You guys want to come? And they said, sure, let's come. And they go there, they walk there. Stomachs are a little growling, after Shachar Shabbos morning, we have those little hungry growls. They come there and there's no Kiddush. So a few people learning there. So they go over to one of the people and they said, isn't this guy's Kiddush for his daughter supposed to be here? And the guy says, I heard there was supposed to be something. I think they decided to do the Kiddush next week instead. Turns to his boys and goes, I'm so sorry. I was supposed to be a Kiddush, but I guess it's Min HaShamayim. As they're walking out, they see a bacher. Older bacher. And the bacher's looking around and he says, is there Kiddush here? They tell him, no, you came for the Kiddush of this guy? He goes, no, I didn't come for the Kiddush of this guy, but I learned yeshiva down the road, and the cook burnt the cholent, or the cholent burnt by itself. In this yeshiva, the only thing that's edible is challah and cholent. So I had some challah, but I'm quite hungry. I came here, I was hoping there'd be a Kiddush, I'd be able to eat something for Shabbos. So the father looks at him and says to him, you came to the right place. Come. We also came to a Kiddush that didn't happen. Come, why don't you come to our house? And they invite this fellow over, and they realize, one of the boys realizes he knows him from the past a little bit, and they have a beautiful Shabbos Suda. This bacher, this guest, is edel, he's refined, he has good sense of humor, he's geschmack, he's a ben Torah, very enjoyable Suda. He thanks them, they thank him, good Shabbos, sei gesund und stark, and he leaves. Later that week, the father of this girl happens to be somewhere, and a fellow comes over to him who he hasn't seen in the longest time. They meet each other, Shalom Aleichem, what's going on, and they begin talking about each other's lives. He says, maybe you know someone from my daughter. He says to this friend, his long-lost friend. He says, she's been in Shidduchim for a while. He says, lo alach, it just didn't go. He says, you know what, I actually do know. I have a really, really nice bacher. I'll tell you his name. You look into the family, you look into the bacher, but he's a great bacher. A little older, but so's your daughter. It could be very matim. When he says the name, the man freezes. He says, that bacher from that yeshiva? Yeah, how do you know him? He ate by our house this past Shabbos. Really? Why? And he says the story about the Kiddush that didn't happen and the cholent that didn't happen. The guy says, listen, you see he's a nice bacher. Look into him some more. He says, I will. So later that week, he calls the Rosh Hashiva up and he says to the Rosh Hashiva, tell me a little bit about this bacher. Someone suggested him. The Rosh Hashiva raves. He says, but you know what? Ask his chavrusa. His chavrusa is really close to him. They've been learning for many years together. You'll get the full scoop from the chavrusa, especially about his learning, his asmada, his hanhaga. So he makes a mental note. He takes actually the phone number of this particular bacher. Figures, Friday or something, he'll call the bacher. The next morning, the father of the girl oversleeps. He wakes up later than he usually does, so he misses his regular minyan. So he goes to daven in a shul that has a later minyan. Gets there a little bit early. He does his achanis, his talis, his tefillin, says a few tefillas, learns a little bit. And as daven is about to start, a fellow comes and sits down next to him. He looks at the fellow's tefillin bag. Hey, whoa, this is the name of the chavrusa, the person he's supposed to be looking into. So at the end of davening, he goes over to him and he says to him, do you go to that yeshiva? Do you learn with that guy? He goes, yes, of course, he's my chavrusa for years. He goes, maybe you could tell me a little bit more about him. And he tells him about him, and he hears the most amazing things. He says, thank you so much. He goes home to his wife and he says to her, we have to give a yes. This is a good one. We have to make this happen. And they go, and they read the Shidduch to the other side. They call the Shadchan up. They read the Shidduch to the other side, and the rest is history. The couple goes out, they get engaged, and everything is beautiful, and everything is wonderful. And while this is a nice feel-good story, if you think about it, it's really a mind-boggling story. It's not even a natural story. I mean, what are the chances that he meets his friend who's making a kiddush that didn't happen, and the bacher whose cholent didn't happen meets him, gets invited to his house, then randomly later he meets a friend he hasn't seen in so long who reads the Shidduch, and then later that day he oversleeps, and the bacher, by the way, always davened in yeshiva, and just that day he wasn't in yeshiva because he woke up late too because he had a chasna the night before. He gets to talk to him, he realizes it's a great thing, they read the Shidduch and the couple get engaged. There's so many things that had to go right and so many things that could have gone wrong. Yet somehow it came together.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org